to Feed a Loon. I'm Chris.
And I'm Wesley.
My sugar and spice loon.
Yes,
Mostly
that's right.
sugar.
Yeah, yes, I got a lot of sugar in my tank.
Very sugary. And that's why we love him so much. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. I may be like all over the place because I am ecstatic with what we're making today.
Yes.
It brings back such incredible childhood memories. I'll talk about that in just a moment because I know you're dying. But let's tell them what we're making. We're doing homemade cinnamon rolls. Oh. So when I was a kid, my grandma on my dad's side, who lived in this little town called Belleville, Kansas, not too far from where you grew up. In,
just a state away, South Dakota.
And she was the incredible, because she's one of those, like, you know, from that generation that I think she was self-taught. She probably learned from her mother, and she was this amazing baker, this amazing cook, and she made homemade cinnamon rolls, and we would go into that house after a long drive, and it would just smell of homemade cinnamon. It was incredible.
I love it.
And it's sort of the rest of the family has tried to recreate these cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, so I feel like I've had a taste of them.
You have, yeah, because we've all tried. She was one of those that she just made by doing. She didn't really write anything down. So finally someone said, would you write these down? And so she did, and it wasn't probably exactly right, so we've all had to kind of come up with our own version of them. So I told you a lot. Okay, so now let's talk, before we talk about, this is the dough. The basis of amazing cinnamon rolls.
But the second basis, or the second most important thing, is the cinnamon mixture.
The filling. They wouldn't be really good cinnamon rolls without cinnamon. Okay,
yes.
So let's talk about that, and then I'm going to review how I did this.
Well, this is 7 tablespoons of butter.
Unsalted butter.
Butter.
Softened. It's very important to soften.
And then we have a half a cup of sugar, and then we have another half a cup of brown sugar. Oh, get out of there. And 2 tablespoons of cinnamon.
Ground cinnamon.
Now, I'm going to mix these all together, but let me just say, we didn't used to do this. We used to just put it on individually, but we got smart.
Well, so what he's saying is that there are different ways that you can do this. And if you're looking at the blog post and you see, I just started doing this method just not too long ago. I've been making cinnamon rolls for a long time. Grandma used to put melted butter on here, and then she'd put the sugar and the cinnamon on. Mm-hmm. I, a lot of times, would just I'd spread butter on here on the dough, and then put the sugar and the cinnamon over that, and then you roll. You'll see as we roll it. But then as you cut them, a lot of that cinnamon and the sugar falls out, and that's not a good thing. Right. So we got to thinking, let's make a kind of like a spread like that.
Look at that.
And then it'll spread, it'll all be together. Okay, so now we are all over the place.
I'm going to clean these off and try not to lick them.
That's going to be a big challenge. Okay, so let me tell you how I made this beautiful dough. Oh,
yes.
This is so incredible. So I'm using my stand mixer to do this. I guarantee you Grandma did not have a stand mixer. So I know what she did is she kneaded it by hand, and that's why she was so strong. We would come in from like a long trip. Our suitcases would be heavy, and she'd grab them and put them in the other room because she's anyway. So, but if you have a stand mixer, this is how you can do it. If you don't, you just can't do it by hand.
Great.
I start off with a cup of whole milk, and I don't like it to be like super ice cold, so I just throw it in the microwave for like 20-25 seconds just to get it kind of nice lukewarm. Don't get it scalding hot, because when you add that yeast in a moment, it'll kill the yeast, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so we've got so we got a cup of milk that I'm putting in the bowl of my stand mixer.
Yeah.
And then to that, I'm going to add a half a cup of sugar. I'll just granulated sugar. And then to that, I've got 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter that I've melted. Now, again, when you melt it in the microwave, that gets it pretty freaking hot. So you don't want it to be so hot that it's going to melt, that it's going to kill the yeast. So let it cool a little bit. Sometimes I even just stick it in the fridge, and it cools pretty quickly. It's okay if it's lukewarm, but just don't want it screeching hot. You add that in, and then we're going to add 3 whole eggs, just nice large eggs, and then we're going to add our yeast. And that is 2.5 teaspoons of, I use instant yeast. You can use just active dry yeast. You're going to get the same results. It's just the instant, it rises a little quicker. But either will work for you. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so then I put in my paddle attachment. I put that on the mixer, and then I just mix that until it's well incorporated. Okay?
Perfect.
Now we're going to add the flour. So we have got 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and I just add that into the bowl, and then I put that paddle attachment back down, and then just what you're wanting to do is just start to really get this fully incorporated, where a dough just starts to form. I keep another half a cup, so you're going to have a total of 5 cups of flour that you're probably going to use, but keep the other half a cup that you can add periodically if it feels like the dough is too sticky and too wet.
Right.
And Did
you change the?
Not yet. I'm getting ready to do that. So you'll add that flour as the dough. It should start pulling away from that bowl. That's when you know it's ready. So we're going to go to the next stage. So now we need to knead it. So this is what I'm going to let my stand mixer do. So I just lift up the mixer. I kind of pull away the dough that's there.
Oh, it's stuck to the paddle.
It's stuck to the paddle,
Yeah.
and then you're going to stick in your dough and attachment. Put it back down into the dough, and then let it go on medium, not too high, like medium, for 6 to 7 minutes. And adding flour, every now and then if it feels
sticking
like
to the bowl.
if it's really sticking,
Yeah.
you can tell if it's kind of wet. And
just a little at a time.
A little bit at a time, and then let it go, and it's going to become really elastic and just beautiful. Okay, so after 7 minutes, stop your mixer, and then lift it up, and then just pull that away from the dough attachment, and then use your hands just to kind of shape it into a little ball. You can smooth it over a little bit if you want. And then we're going to get just a large bowl, spray it with some cooking spray, or smear it with some butter, softened butter, and then just put that dough in there. Turn it over so it gets well oiled, and then cover it with plastic wrap. And then you're going to want to let it proof, which means you need that yeast to do its thing. And because I did with instant, it's a little quicker, but you can, at this point, if you want to do these the night before you make them, just cover them and put them in the fridge. The next morning, it's going to be great. Just a lot of ovens nowadays have a proof setting on there on the oven. Just make sure you haven't cooked anything like for a few hours beforehand, because it'll be too
still hot. Right,
you do not want to overcook this. So just what you need is somewhere non-drafty and somewhat warm. Don't put it by a cold window or anything like that. And then it's going to double in size.
Yes.
And then you just take that out, and then here we've got, I put just a little sprinkling of flour on the surface, and then I just
threw down that dough.
I threw down my dough, and
then just started working it.
Dough, dough. And so then I got my rolling pin, and just you want to roll this out to about a 10 by 15 rectangle.
Great.
Okay?
Yeah.
Have I talked enough? Oh my gosh, I do this all the time, and then I'm hoarse.
See, look at that. That's perfect. I love that.
I know.
That we finally figured out how not to lose the
sugar.
The sugar.
I know. There's nothing worse than losing sugar.
That's right.
That is so right. Okay, so this is just going to smear, and basically, like what we said, is when we do this, you'll see when we roll it up, when you slice it for the rolls, a lot of that good, delicious stuff would roll up.
You don't lose it, yeah.
And then another way you can do it, and I think I mentioned this, the way Grandma used to do it, is you melt your butter first. And then you put the sugar and the brown sugar.
Well, we've done that before too, but sometimes we put a little too much melted butter, and it
can
just
get
goes
messy.
all over the
It can get messy.
counter.
It definitely can get messy.
And then you have dogs circling.
I know. I mean, that happens anyway. And so anyway, okay.
That looks great.
It does.
It almost looks like a pate.
It does. It does. It won't taste like a pate.
No.
A pate, I don't know,
There we go.
Lapone or something.
Spread
But okay.
Pate Lapone. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Lord.
Okay. So now what we're doing, I'm taking forever to do this.
You gotta there.
Okay. Look at that. Doesn't that just look incredible?
And that butter will melt, and all those lovely, delicious sweetness will.
And the thing is, folks, the smell. You've been into those cinnamon roll places, and you as soon as you walk in, you're like, oh my God, it's intoxicating, and that's what this is going to be. Okay.
Lovely.
Okay, so now
we do the roll.
the fun part. We drop and roll.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so now this is so easy. You take the long end of your rectangle here, and you just start to roll it up, jelly roll style. Okay, and it's just beautiful. Yay! Wouldn't this be delicious, like a giant cinnamon log? Like, come on over, folks, we're having cinnamon logs.
Oh, well, you know what? I would eat that, yes.
I know you would. I think you have eaten
Now
that.
you pinch in the sides?
Yeah, with pincher sides.
Okay.
Okay, so now what we've got.
That looks great.
So if you want to spray that
Get
for
my
us, let's get
area
that.
ready over here.
So we're going to, this is like a 9 by 13 baking pan, and we're going to cut this into 12 rolls. So what I like to do is to make it kind of easier, I just
Start in the middle.
Start in the middle. And then be careful, you may want to do this on a cutting board. Don't cut your counter. And then, so I kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh wait, it's a 6 more. No, wait, we have 14. Okay, so now you just cut this like this. Try not to cut yourself, and
Perfect.
look at that.
That's great.
So when I was
Put it on over here.
when I was a kid, my grandma, she was so sweet. I would love to eat the dough like this, and I would say, Grandma, can I have one of those before you bake it?
Sweet.
And she said, well, yes, just don't tell anyone. So I would eat it, and literally, like an hour later, it'd be bloating. It'd still be rising in my stomach.
Oh.
So we're going to continue doing this until we have filled this completely up.
Yeah.
And then we need to let them. What we're going to do is we're going to cover it with a little plastic wrap, and then we need to let it proof for about
More.
60 minutes to 90 minutes. You got to give yourself a little time when you're making this, but trust me, it's so worth it. And then they're going to rise, and then it's time to bake them, and then ice them, and then eat them. Okay. Is there anything more beautiful than this? So let me tell you. Okay, so as you remember, we were loading this thing up with the cinnamon rolls. I put the last one in, and then I just got another piece of plastic wrap like this, and just loosely placed it on there. Put it back in my proofing oven or in my non-drafty, somewhat warm area, and then let it go. You can let it go from anywhere from like 60 minutes to 90 minutes. Obviously, the longer you let it go.
We took a walk with the dogs.
We did. We walked our dogs. And it was perfect. And now we're going to come back.
Yeah.
We walked, and now we can eat cinnamon rolls. Okay,
Exactly.
but we have to bake them first. But
Yes.
oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that
Perfect.
great? Okay, so I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. And then these, they're so beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, I just can't eat. So they're going to go for anywhere from like 20 to 25 minutes. They just get nice and brown on top, and then we're going to top them with this icing, and then we're going to
Come on, get them in that oven.
Okay. Okay, so I've come to the conclusion that God kind of gave us a preview of heaven when He taught us how to make cinnamon rolls. It's just so
It's
amazing.
totally true.
If you could smell this, it's incredible. Okay, these baked for like 20 minutes. That's all it took. You see how they just get kind of nice, and the smell is incredible.
I can't even.
Okay.
I'm out.
So while these were baking, and we had to like pick ourselves off the floor because they smelled so good, we made some icing. And so let's tell you what. It's so easy. It's we started off with 2 cups of
powdered sugar,
confectioner sugar or powdered sugar,
and then some butter.
We added 4 tablespoons of melted butter.
Yes.
And then to that, I just eyeballed it. But you want to get some good quality vanilla extract.
Yes.
Do about a teaspoon in there. And then what I do is I just kind of mix that up with a wooden spoon until it starts to get somewhat incorporated. And then in little increments of like a tablespoon, you're going to add milk. And do it at milk. And it just depends on how thick you like your icing to be. It's going to obviously, I should have told you, when we remove this from the oven, we let this sit for, it's hard to let it sit, but you should let it sit about 15 minutes. I think we've let it go about 5 minutes. Okay, so now,
and so we added enough milk so that you got to this great consistency right here.
So now it's going to obviously melt more, and we're going to do this as a team. So.
Yes, I can't wait.
I know.
I think this one's mine here.
Isn't this incredible? I mean, I tell you,
Look at it just melt. Oh gosh,
it's so amazing. Okay. We're not doing this real elegantly because
who cares? Get the kids involved. Who
Exactly.
cares?
I was going to say that.
It just melts and just.
It's so. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Oh my
I might have
gosh.
to save just a little bit for when I put it on my plate.
Yes. Well, Wesley, of course, being Wesley,
not all the time. I don't do this all the time.
These are so good. Like when you heat them up,
When
you heat them up the next day, and just put them in the microwave, and they heat up beautifully. He, of course, then has to add a little butter,
too. Why not?
All right, Wes, Loon, pick me. Which one do you want? Just
a big one.
Wow. What a surprise.
This one.
Okay. All right. Oh, my gosh. These are cooked. I'm just going to hold this. Help me here.
Yes.
I know these are fresh out of the oven. Oh, my gosh. They're cooked perfectly. You guys, I so wish everybody was here right now with us.
Wow.
Look at that. Yeah, that'll do. Oh my gosh.
I think you left a chunk of it in there. I'm kidding.
No, I didn't. You're just wishing you.
I know. Y'all. I can't. I don't know if I can wait
Look
for
at
you.
this. Can
here,
you
bring
see?
it down here. There you go. I can see it. Oh.
I'm telling you.
Okay. I think we've all seen this. I can't wait any longer.
My grandma is smiling down, I hope.
Oh,
I
you
hope,
guys.
I hope she's proud.
Look at that. Just
when
look
I
at
was a kid, my favorite way to eat a cinnamon roll was to start on the outside and work your way to the middle. He just digs right in.
It's hot.
Is it phenomenal? It's heaven. It is a slice of heaven.
It's heaven. It's heaven. It's so good. It's so good. I really can't. The cinnamon, the icing, the dough.
I know.
The dough is very fluffy.
I know. It's a light, fluffy kind of dough.
But you know what? It's still got some density.
It's got some. It's not suffering from not being robust.
And I like the brown sugar and the white sugar in there. That's a.
He's just sitting there.
All right, this is 1,000% Loon approved.
Yes. I'm going to throw that across the room if you don't hurry up, because this is. Oh my gosh! Look at that! Look how. Oh, it's just so beautiful. Oh my gosh! My grandma. I love you, Grandma. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Y'all. We're in euphoria over here.
The only thing would be better if you guys were here. You have to make this.
Yeah.
You saw how easy they are. They're really not hard to
so
make.
good.
You just have to allow a little bit of time.
Yes, and we've been kind of dieting a little bit.
I'm sure you couldn't tell.
No, and so now we're just like rah, 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 rah. Now you can get this recipe on howtofeedaloon.com. I can't stop eating this.
I know, that's right. And go. We're drunk on cinnamon rolls. So go to our social media, like us, share us, do all of that great stuff. Share the love. Make cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
I mean, roll on down the hill and get your ingredients and make this, because the way your kitchen smells, and then you serve this for breakfast. Like I said, you could do the dough the night before and have it for breakfast, but you're going to want to eat it all day long, because we're going to. We're blowing our diets. All right, you guys, we love you.
I'm almost done with mine.
I know you've inhaled it.
Bye, y'all.
You can guess what we're going to be doing for the next hour. Bye. Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Now, if you want to be a part of the Loon fun, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit that little bell icon so you won't miss a single recipe.
That's right. Oh, and speaking of recipes, if you want another amazing recipe like this, then just click right here.
Yeah, click.
Click.
Subscribe.
It's so much fun.